The Indiana Fever just made one of the boldest and possibly most controversial moves in WNBA history. Reports are exploding online that the team's front office has already decided which 8 players they plan to release in 2026, and fans are not happy. After a roller-coaster 2025 season filled with drama, injuries, and flashes of brilliance, the Fever's management seems ready to hit the reset button, but in doing so, they might be walking straight into a massive mistake that could haunt them for years. From shocking names rumored to be on the list, to fan-favorite players whose exits could break hearts, this decision has everyone asking, what on earth is going on in Indiana? Because this isn't just about roster changes. It's about team chemistry, locker room loyalty, and a franchise that's finally starting to find its rhythm, only to risk tearing it apart. The Fever's rise and the chaos ahead. After years of struggle, the Indiana Fever finally started turning heads again, thanks to a new generation of stars led by Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston. Their chemistry brought the franchise back to relevance. Ticket sales soared, and suddenly, the Fever weren't just a rebuilding team. They were contenders in the making. But success brings tough decisions. By 2026, rookie contracts, salary caps, and new draft classes will force Indiana to make some brutal roster cuts. And according to insiders, management already has a list, 8 players expected to be released or traded to make room for fresh talent. The problem? Some of those names are beloved by fans and crucial to the team's chemistry. It's not just a rebuild, it's a risk. Because if they get this wrong, the Fever's progress could vanish overnight. Lexie Hull, the shocking veteran cut. Let's start with the most surprising name, Lexie Hull. A core part of the Fever's rotation, Hull's hustle, defense, and leadership have been instrumental in shaping the team's identity. But according to early reports, the front office sees her as expendable due to salary cap issues and a younger draft class waiting to take her spot. Fans are furious. Lexie's intensity, work ethic, and chemistry with Caitlin Clark made her a locker room favorite. Removing her wouldn't just create a gap in defense. It would tear apart the team's spirit. Every championship team needs its grinders, players who do the dirty work without headlines. Cutting Lexie Hull might save money, but it could cost the Fever their heart. If this rumor is true, the front office might regret this one for a long time. Christy Wallace, the underrated glue piece. Next on the rumored list, Christy Wallace. She's not always in the spotlight, but her playmaking and consistency have held the Fever's second unit together through tough stretches. When starters struggled, Christy stepped up, calm under pressure, reliable on both ends of the floor. But sources suggest management sees her as replaceable in the upcoming free agency shuffle. That's a dangerous mindset, because every great team has players like Wallace, dependable, unselfish, and quietly effective. Cutting her for the sake of younger potential could shatter the team's depth and leadership. The Fever may not realize it yet, but losing Wallace would be like removing a silent engine that keeps everything running smoothly. And if the bench collapses in 2026, fans will look back at this move and say, they should have kept Christy. Grace Berger, the hometown hero. Few names hit harder than Grace Berger when it comes to Indiana basketball. Born and raised in the Hoosier State, Grace represents everything the Fever claim to stand for: grit, loyalty, and local pride. But insiders say her future with the team is uncertain. The front office reportedly views her as a rotation liability in a faster, more offense-driven league. That may be statistically logical, but emotionally, it's a disaster. Grace is a hometown favorite, beloved by fans for her passion and connection to the community. Releasing her could alienate the very fan base that helped rebuild the Fever support. Sometimes, teams forget loyalty matters. If the Fever let Grace Berger go, it won't just be a roster change. It'll feel like betrayal. And no franchise can survive when the fans lose faith. NaLyssa Smith, the potential powerhouse. Here's the most controversial name of all, NaLyssa Smith. Once viewed as a future all-star, Smith's inconsistent performances and lingering injuries reportedly have the front office questioning her long-term role. But cutting her? That's a dangerous gamble. At her best, Smith is unstoppable, a dominant rebounder, physical scorer, and perfect complement to Aliyah Boston in the front court. Yes, her 2025 season had ups and downs, but talent like that doesn't grow on trees. If the Fever give up too soon, they might be handing another team the next breakout star. Sometimes, patience is the price of greatness. If they move on from Alyssa and she blossoms elsewhere, Indiana fans will never forgive management for letting her go. Victims of the salary cap. Not every cut is personal. Some are just business. By 2026, the WNBA salary cap is expected to tighten, forcing every team to make brutal financial decisions. The Fever's young core is becoming expensive, and veterans on mid-tier contracts may be the first to go. Reports suggest that Erica Wheeler, Temi Fagbennel, and Kelsey Mitchell's backup guards could all be released or traded purely for cap flexibility. But here's the issue. These are experienced players who bring balance and mentorship. Lose too many, and you're left with talent but no guidance. Championships aren't built with numbers alone. They're built with chemistry and wisdom. The Fever might save money, but they could lose their locker room in the process. Sometimes the smart move on paper destroys the soul of a team. The Caitlin Clark effect. You can't talk about Indiana Fever decisions without mentioning Caitlin Clark. Her arrival changed everything. Ticket sales, media attention, and team strategy. The Fever are reportedly restructuring the roster to build entirely around her, creating space for shooters, faster guards, and players who fit her style. That sounds logical, but it's risky. If the team over-adjusts to one player, they risk becoming one-dimensional. Basketball isn't won by individuals, it's won by systems. The front office's obsession with maximizing Caitlin's potential might come at the cost of removing the players who helped her shine in the first place. Building around a star is smart, but building only for the star? That's a mistake history has punished before. The Fever could be walking right into that trap. Fan outrage and the social media storm. When rumors of the releases hit social media, fans went ballistic. Hashtags like hashtag Keep Lexie and hashtag Save Grace trended across X and TikTok. Die-hard Fever supporters accused management of chasing numbers, not loyalty. Even rival fans weighed in, calling the decision a PR disaster waiting to happen. The Fever's resurgence in popularity came from connection. Fans loved the personalities, the stories, and the underdog energy. If management starts treating players like disposable assets, that emotional bond could break overnight. And once fans stop believing, ticket sales, merchandise, and engagement all collapse. This isn't just a basketball decision. It's a brand crisis waiting to explode. The Fever may think they're building for the future, but if they alienate their fan base, they might not have a future to build. The locker room impact. Behind every trade rumor is a locker room full of emotions. Reports say the uncertainty has already created tension among players. Veterans feel disrespected, younger players feel pressured, and the once united Fever culture now faces cracks. One anonymous player reportedly said, "We're supposed to be a family, but lately it feels like business. When trust fades, chemistry follows. And chemistry is the one thing no money or draft pick can replace." If these rumors become reality, Indiana might find itself with a talented roster that doesn't trust each other. The Fever spent years rebuilding their identity, and now, one wrong offseason could undo it all. Big mistakes don't always show up on the scoreboard. Sometimes they start quietly in the locker room. The big mistake. By 2026, Indiana could either be celebrating a championship run or regretting a mass release that shattered their foundation. Every decision has consequences, and this one might define the next decade of Fever basketball. Cutting key veterans, ignoring fan loyalty, overbuilding around one star. It all points to one outcome, a team that lost sight of balance. Championships aren't built overnight. They're built through trust, patience, and chemistry. The Fever might think they're playing chess, but they could be sacrificing their queen for short-term gain. And when the dust settles, the biggest regret won't be the players they released. It'll be the culture they destroyed trying to look smart on paper. Only time will tell. But if these reports are true, Indiana may have just made its biggest mistake yet.